though Joel will never use silat weapons outside his training, he still needs to master them to qualify for his third stripe. One reason silat warriors are so feared is because their weapons can be terrifyingly tiny. One of the art's smallest blades is called the karambit.
It's sized to your finger, the width of your palm, and it'll have a little hook that comes out at the end, which can't be seen.
A karambit is so small, an enemy may not know if a silat warrior is armed until it's too late.
When you take the rawness of what silat is, that is the deadliness of it, because it's what you can't see. It's these weapons that I have all over myself, like little blades that you can't see. You won't even realize that you've been cut.
The karambit technique may be the most vicious strike in all of silat. Motion capture allows us to see why. The silat warrior first swings low and rapidly slices behind each of his enemy's knees. The targets are key tendons and hamstring muscles that hold the enemy upright. The silat warrior strikes upward toward the neck. A deep enough cut will slice through the jugular vein. Next, a knee to the chest drops the enemy's head into perfect position for the final strike. A rapid hook to the left eye socket. In 4 lightning-fast moves, the enemy is blinded, unable to stand, and bleeding out. Armed with a real karambit, Joel needs to be careful.
Now, so when you cut, I'm cutting him right here on his thigh.
Yes.
Okay? So cut here. Cut. Now. Cut the throat. Knee. And then cut up. Okay. Okay, I'll do it again.
Finally, he gives a full karambit strike, everything he's got.
Okay.
Jaswan sees that Joel can handle this tiny blade and execute each slice at its intended target point. Next up is Joel's final weapon. It's one of the most carefully guarded fighting techniques in all of silat gayong. In the hands of a master, the weapons of Malaysia's martial arts silat gayong can be lethal. Targeting ligaments, the throat, and eyes. But blades aren't the only weapons in a silat warrior's arsenal. In Malaysia, a traditional form of dress for men and women is the sarong, a long piece of cloth that's wrapped around the waist like a skirt or a kilt. For silat fighters, a sarong is also a weapon. It's called the chindai. Jaswan demonstrates a chindai attack. The chindai technique is so secretive in silat gayong that it's only shared with the most advanced students.
Chindai is the Malay traditional technique. It's a simple technique and it doesn't require a lot of energies. And that's why we wait until the student reaches a certain level for us to reveal the techniques of the secret Chindai.
So when you throw it over the head and you catch, you pull them into you and you do like that's when you start to like strangle, choke. Okay.
Now, motion capture allows us to slow down a chindai strike and see why a simple cloth can be such a terrifying weapon. First, the warrior executes a surprise attack from the rear and wraps his enemy's entire head in the sarong. Then, a twist. As the cloth is pulled tight, it clamps down on both the windpipe and carotid artery in one go. Oxygen and blood supply to the brain are cut off. Now, with his enemy gasping for breath, the silat warrior pulls him to the ground. The true power of a chindai strike is not just physical.
It attacks primarily around the throat area, so it takes your wind away. And this is one of the things that's great about Silat actually is the psychological game that it plays with your opponent, because I take your air away and then I just keep going. So it's kind of like, it's like a drowning feeling and you start to panic. And it's that panic feeling that you want to put in your opponent, because that's what makes it psychological.
Joel works to learn a full range of Chindai strikes. It's the last technique he has to master here at the training center. Jaswan is pleased with Joel's Chindai technique. Joel has now mastered many of Silat's most difficult fighting methods: deadly support, seligi, the kuris and karambik, and finally, the surprisingly simple and crippling Chindai. Sam is growing more confident that Joel will be awarded his third strike. But he knows that the last test will be the hardest. Today, in Malaysia's capital city of Kuala Lumpur, you can find a new kind of silat. It's a competitive sport known as olahraga. In just 3 days, Joel will face his final challenge. He'll have to survive a real fight against one of Malaysia's olahraga champions. He's excited, but nervous.
I have no idea what I'm kind of walking into, but to do something new, I'm excited about that.
Sam and Joel arrive at one of Malaysia's top olahraga training facilities. It's located inside the police academy, Pulapol. Even today, Silat continues to play an important role in the national defense of Malaysia. It's one of the forms of martial arts taught to the country's police force. To help Joel prepare for the fight, Sam is turning him over to one of Malaysia's toughest olahraga trainers. Chego Kamal is a police sergeant and has trained multiple olahraga champions here at Pulapol. If Joel wants to survive the fight, Kamal may be his best hope.
This is the time for him to see how he handles competition here in Malaysia.
First, Chego Kamal wants to make sure that Joel is physically ready.
Okay. I have no idea what they're going to have me do, but I could imagine it's going to be very physically taxing.
Okay, Joe, come with me. Good dog. All right. Now. Yes. Faster, faster.
Joel's still getting used to Malaysia's extreme heat.
My hamstrings are tight and sore, my quads are tight and sore. This is just kind of making them scream. This is waking everything up.
10 seconds, okay. Okay. Okay, Joe. Good job. You do 50 in 1 minute.
Having passed the physical test, Joel gets a tour of the training facility. Here, he'll train for 3 days with some of Malaysia's top olahraga fighters. Olahraga is a streamlined form of traditional silat. Fighters don't use weapons, just their bodies and skill. Their strikes can still be brutal. One of the most impressive is a scissor kick takedown. A fighter launches himself at his opponent. While in the air, he wraps his legs around the other fighter's knees, then twists his body as he falls, forcing the second fighter to fall with him. A strike using the hand is worth 1 point, while a kick is worth 2 points. A takedown gives you 3 points. Joel needs to get up to speed fast on the sport's strict competition rules.
To the best of my knowledge, they're just going to really go over the rules and regulations. There's a lot of things that I can and can't do, like the different kicking methods and maybe striking methods.
He's going to have a difficult time learning the rules and regulation. You're talking about trainers And students who have been trained for 5 to 10 years, even 15 years, it's probably going to be challenging for him. I hope he will follow the regulation. That's my main concern.
Many of the strikes used in traditional silat are not allowed in Olahraga. These include the groin strike, and nerve hits of siliki, and the throat squeeze of deadly support. If Joel makes an illegal strike during the fight, he could be disqualified.
Awesome.
So every single time they restart, they have to start back again.
Yes.
This is actually my very first time ever even seeing it in real time, being able to see how fast these guys move. It was pretty explosive movement, actually.
Kamal knows how hard it is going to be to last all 3 rounds.
Pada pandangan saya untuk mengambil laga Sarawak paling cepat 6 bulan. Saya berharap agar pesilat Malaysia ni di samping memberi bimbingan kepada Joel, dia juga akan tunjukkan kebolehan dia bermain.